A warm welcome to all the Toastmasters and guests to this initiative by Area I3 and Area I4 from the Leaders' Desk under the Free Ground Initiative. Here, we are going to talk, discuss, and have fun with a few leaders from corporate, Toastmasters, and the Public Speaking Forum. And we are going to talk about public speaking, about leadership, about all the challenges and how to overcome them. I'm sure this initiative is going to be a great and fruitful one for you. So keep watching. We are going to come up with such videos every week. So don't forget to like, share, and subscribe this.
Today, we have a very special person with us. Jennifer means fairness. She is what you call a strong woman, a loving mother, and most of all, a people enabler. The core of her philosophy in life is to give back to society in whichever way possible. She is sensitive, caring, ambitious, and a self starter who is always working towards achieving the next milestone. She is an MBA specializing in human resources with over 3 decades of work experience in a multicultural environment. Throughout her career, she had the opportunity to work across India, UAE, and Mexico and has created a vast professional network for itself. At Tata Consultancy Services (TCS), Jennifer was able to realize her potential indeed and over the years picked up vital skills in the areas of mentorship, counseling, leadership, and resource management. She had also worked as part of TCS CSR initiatives and continues to give back to society through various initiatives. Post her retirement from TCS Limited in 2018, Jennifer Ghosh went on to work as a director of operations and HR for a technology startup in Bangalore. Complementing a 13-year stint at Toastmasters, Jennifer Ghosh is often heard quoting, "Once a Toastmaster, always a Toastmaster." Through the Toastmaster journey, Jennifer has made it her mission to help people change their realities through awareness and active pursuit of improvement. She would like to help inspire members to reach their highest potential in becoming better communicators and eventually leaders. Jennifer Ghosh is a classically trained dancer, has a keen enthusiasm for theater, and is always up for fun and engaging activities. Her love for people and advanced communication skills allows for better, deeper, and more lasting relationships with her friends, colleagues, and co-workers. Without waiting further ado, let's start with this amazing interview.
First of all, thank you
Thank
so
you.
much, Jennifer ma'am. Thank you so much, Jennifer ma'am,
Thank you,
for
Ruben, for that wonderful introduction. Thank you so, so much.
and thank you, ma'am, for being our first guest in this interview session. So let us get started with the interview.
Absolute, Shanthan. It's my pleasure to be here, and it's an honor to be your first guest on this podium.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Ma'am, you have so much of experience in being a leader in various different places, in Toastmasters, in a corporate world. So, leadership can be defined by various facets. What does this word leadership mean to you?
Well, Shanthan, leadership and success, in my opinion, go hand in hand. Though it takes a lot to be successful because success does not happen overnight. It takes time, effort, and planning. It is important to note before we face success, we must face our most biggest fears, the fear of failing. Yes, my dear Toastmasters, it's only when you fail that you are able to value success even more. We need not worry about this right because there are so many successful people who have been criticized on their journey to success, but eventually risen and have become very, very successful. So I would say fall and rise should be our motto and way forward in life. A leader must be a great team player, Shayantan, with a vision, have the ability to work towards that goal and vision, lead to inspire so that you create leaders for the future. Most important, in my opinion, leaders have to be extremely humble, be human, and be honest. So that's my take on leadership.
Thank you so much, ma'am. It is indeed a 360-degree view of what a leader should be like. So, thank you for that wonderful answer, ma'am. Over to you, Rohit.
That was indeed an wonderful answer, ma'am. As you said, that we have to prepare for the leaders for future. In this world where we have heard a lot of times the young generation is going to take up the charge for future. What would you give advice to the people who are being led today by the leaders who are going to be leaders for tomorrow?
Thank you for that question, Rohit. It's a very interesting question. And I believe truly that the young leaders of tomorrow need to be groomed properly. They need to be set good examples. And who better than the seniors to set those examples? So, if you want to set an example to the future leaders, it's very important for you to be a role model to them. I would just advise the young generation who is looking at leadership in the near future to work hard, be honest, more important, have self belief, and don't look for shortcuts to success. It never comes through shortcuts. Earn it. Go up from the ground level. Go every stage by stage so that you experience, learn, and then move forward. Then you become a strong leader and you will be able to lead your teams with a better understanding because you have been there and you have done it. And that will earn you the respect you look for. Because at the end of the day, what else do we go out of this world with? It is only with love and respect of the people. So if you give to the people will give back to you. And you will be ready for the tomorrow's needs. The young leaders today will be ready for tomorrow if you do believe that shortcuts will never help you to succeed. Have self belief, work hard with honesty, earn your respect through being there and doing it. And at the end, I would always say, have fun. As it's always nice to have fun while you're on a journey because without fun, you will not be able to learn. Fun and learning goes hand in hand. That's my advice to the young generation.
Thank you, ma'am, for such a lovely answer. And, ma'am, I would have just a follow-up question is that in this, yeah, the young generation, they have all different types of leaderships. Someone has the motivational type, someone goes for the more dominant type. So, what would you say to those leaders who tries to find their own style of leadership and how they should try to apply it in their real life?
See, we have always had role models in our lives. And it is important to have role models because when you have a role model, you look up to that person and you try to become like him or her or even better, right? So every person, as you said, comes with their own leadership style. And that is absolutely okay. Keeping your own leadership style because that is your forte, that is your strength. How can you implement other styles to help you become a better leader. Keeping your primary style, how can you add the secondary styles of leadership to help you become even better? It is always necessary, even in our corporate world, our skills are primary and secondary. So why not in leadership? Why just dealing with people? And people are from different walks of life, unique by themselves.
Absolutely, ma'am. Thank you so much. Over to Shanton.
Thank you, ma'am, for that wonderful answer. Now, ma'am, you talked about leadership style and identifying our leadership style. Your view, how important is effective communication in leadership?
It is extremely important, Shayantan, because it is said that communication skill is like developing your muscles. The more you work at it, the stronger and better you become. Therefore, a leader needs to have that fluency in the language. We talking about the English language because this is world over the primary language, the business language. So as to, if you have the fluency, you will be able to inform, you will be able to persuade, you will be able to comprehend, listen and motivate your teams. You will also have that confidence to state an opinion, stand by it, and give credibility to whatever you talk about. So it's very important that you have that skill to be able to motivate your teams to follow you and understand you. So a leader has to have the communication skills that we look for. And as I said, in Toastmasters, we always say where leaders are made. We don't say where communicators are made. Because in Toastmasters, we believe that good leaders will automatically have, as a byproduct, good communication skills. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. In fact, I have been asked this question by many Toastmasters when Toastmasters is a forum of communication as well as leadership development. Why isn't it in the tagline? And this is something that I have never been able to answer, but I've always wanted to know the answer to. And your answer today actually told me the real reason behind keeping that tagline where leaders are made. So thank you, ma'am. Over to you. Over to Rohit.
Absolutely, Shanton. That was the question many times people have asked, and this was a question which I also had to. Thank you so much, ma'am, for answering that question. Ma'am, in March, particularly I'm talking about March, when pandemic hit us hard, the whole world changed. We had to change ourselves according to the situation. The leaders who were following through, who were making the team follow them, the leadership styles which we usually have, and how it changed through that course of pandemic, how the challenges which they were facing, such as technology, digitalization, logistics, those were the parts which were, I feel, that were faced by many leaders. So, how would you advise to those leaders that they should take up those challenges and move forward in life?
Thank you so much, Rohit, for that question. It's a very deep question and a very pertinent question, especially now. There has been a huge shift in terms of leading with more focus and being on top of things that could have been managed better in a person to person connect. Unfortunately, in terms of reach and the physical touch, and feel effect is not happening anymore. So it is definitely become more of a challenge. On the brighter side, though, it is the adaptability of the human race that is very, very powerful. The human race can adapt to changes very fast. This is a big plus plus, as it helps us to quickly change our mode of operations and cater to the now need, which is virtual. I believe we miss the physical environment a lot. Nobody can deny that. But we can also see a whole new advantage and way of working or operating going forward. I believe this is going to be the new normal and will be there whether we have COVID or we don't have COVID. The advantages that organizations are getting through this work from home platform is a lot of savings in terms of expenditures, travel, cutting down on electricity, on overheads, on operational charges. So now companies have realized that it is possible to have this work from home concept, which normally used to be more a part of the Western culture, I would say. Now even India is going to adopt this culture. And it is very necessary that we have flexibility. There are companies like IBM who never invest in their own property because they feel that that is unnecessarily a big burden to buy land and build a building. Whereas TCS, completely different. They keep buying land and building their own buildings. Maybe for TCS, the advantage is there because they feel that's an asset. But for IBM, they feel that that's not necessary because if we just hire a building and we have manpower coming in as and when they can, it's fine by them. This has been the IBM's work pattern all through before the pandemic, much before that. And I have been hearing quite a lot of talks by senior HR professionals who have said that now the eyes of the management is changing towards this new module of working. And this new normal is going to be the case going forward. So I think we human beings will adapt and we will meet once in a while like in hybrid modes, but it will not be on a regular day to day basis. And we will get used to that and we will enjoy it because humans are the only entities who can adapt to change quickly and accept them. We are very strong that way. That's my answer.
Thank you, ma'am, for that wonderful answer. Ma'am, I remember in during your district director term when the pandemic has hit us and how you had worked so hard to make the district midly distinguished, which is the highest recognition Toastmaster International bestow upon the district. I remember how you had made that personal connect with the members by focusing more on the personal development, the personal growth of each individual who was part of Toastmaster International. In this new era where work from home is emerging, where the personal connect between the employees and the employers are being affected due to this new technique, how, as the professional in during HR, as you are the HR experience of more than 3 decades, how would you advise those people to have that personal connect so that the employers and employees feel that connection with the organization?
So I've been noticing that there are a lot of organizations who are having fantastic fun sessions, debates, quiz, and many other things on the platform. So these are supposed to be the stress busters, which HR is bringing in to help people connect more. They are having more of bringing in some great eminent speakers to come on the platform and speak to the associates on various topics. So these are not something which used to happen very often, but now because of this virtual platform and because you can get people on one podium, it is happening more often. And I think it is becoming quite a trend. I've also heard of quite a few startups who are building platforms where people will be able to have group gatherings, group experiences. And this is really going to be the new era of group experiences on a virtual platform. If you want to have a birthday party, you can just book it on that portal and enjoy a birthday party with everybody logging in. And you may also get artists like comedians, or you can get a singer, or you can get a person who is a a comedian, like I said, or maybe any artist, a person who plays the drums, or maybe a group of people coming in to play jazz for you if you're a jazz lover. So we are having all this coming on the portal, and I've seen it myself. So I believe that this technology is going to take off in a very big way, and companies are going to make use of this to reach that bonding with their associates. They're going to give them that type of good times, not only with them, but they will also invite family to be a part of it. Normally, in big organizations, they have one day, maybe a family day. Now, most of the organizations, due to various threats, they are not allowing families to come in much in the organizations. In my time, maybe 20 years ago, we could take our families anytime in and out of the organization. But today, there is a lot of restrictions on that. So this podium, this Zoom platform that we have, or any of these, not only with the employer, but also with the family members, I think that is going to bring the bonding of an organization and their people together more.
Thank you, ma'am, for that excellent answer. Over to Chantal.
Ma'am, you told the importance of various different people in an organization, be it the HR or be it people in other positions in the organization. So, do you think being a manager or being a vice president, a managing director, is it different from being a leader? Or all of these positions are a leader at the core?
Well, for me, the answer is yes and no, because I have seen people who are managers per se who think and believe that their main goal or task is to manage projects, manage people, and manage targets. They have not understood that if they have become a manager, you have grown up the ladder and you've reached that position, a position where you are a part of the top managerial ranks. And if you have reached that rank, it only means that you are a part of the elite crowd of an organization. So being a manager, being a CEO, being a leader is basically one and the same. You are a leader and you are also managing things for the organization. But there is a difference between just being a manager, running behind your projects, the numbers, the targets. There's also that human touch which makes you the leader. And I think that sometimes is missing. Because when you aim to be a leader, you need to have certain other skills than just being a good manager. Life skills, soft skills are required because you need to understand people and their behaviors. As I have always said, people are the most important elements of our lives or an organization, be it a corporate or be it Toastmasters. People make the clubs, people make the organization. Therefore, it is important to understand people. And the understanding only comes if you have those other skills which is required, like life skills, soft skills, things which will make you empathetic, understanding, give you more time to listen to them, to hear their voice, to understand the pain, to go into their shoes and think about it. Lot of things that just being a manager doesn't come. You have to have those skills, and those skills are not taught in any business school. You may get to learn a lot of soft skills, how to manage teams, how to motivate your teams, how to inspire your teams, how to have team bonding, all that you learn in soft skills and life skills. But what about the skills that you need to understand people? That is very important, and that doesn't come by teaching, it just comes through experience. When you get experienced in an organization and you learn how important it is to understand and to know what ticks for people, that's when you become a good leader and a manager. I think if you make your teams happy, you'll be a happy manager and you'll be a great leader. The happiness of your teams is reflect on you, because if you are a great leader and you make your teams feel that they are great assets to you, they will do anything for you. They will not stop at lying down to help you in your projects. I have seen it personally. Happy teams have been so successful, whereas teams where the manager is just a manager and not an empathetic leader have struggled. So I think most important is if your teams are happy, you'll be happy. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for that wonderful experience sharing and response to that question. And indeed, it is very important to motivate our team, and you, as a district director, have ensured that the same was done throughout the district, which bestowed the ultimate and the highest recognition to our district, as Rohit had mentioned in few a little ago.
But as you said in the beginning, Shantan, when I was talking about success and leadership and saying that unless and until you don't, fall and rise, you'll not be successful. And I was extremely scared of falling. I was so scared of failing as the district director of 2019-20. Trust me, it's a big responsibility. And being a woman, it was even more of a huge boulder on my shoulder because I had to prove to everybody that I could do it. So you can imagine that was a fear which was really terrifying. But in spite of all that, with the help of teams, you cannot do anything alone. You can only do it when you have your team support. And I think I was very blessed because I got everybody's support. And that is what took us to the Smedley Distinguished District. So I believe that my fears were in vain, but definitely people, if you love them, if you respect them, and if you give them that pat on the back once in a while when they are doing good, it's very important. That's what motivates them, keeps them going, and makes you successful in the end. Thank you.
To be honest, ma'am,
Ma'am,
as
you had
yes, Rohit.
cut. Yeah. Ma'am, you had an eventful district leadership term in your as your district director. So I just wanted to know what was the most memorable moment when you were the district director.
There were many memorable moments basically because in the initial 6 months, 6 to 7 months, we were doing pretty well and everything was going honky dory because we reached President's Distinguished very fast. And when we came to the Smedley, we started struggling because that was the time when COVID hit us. So the last 3 months we had quite a fear that we may not succeed. And let me tell you, in District 41, there has never been a year when District 41 has not stood up to that challenge. And every year they have come in some placement in the world records. So I was really worried and thinking that if we don't do it, it is really going to be very, very bad and upsetting for not only me, but for the entire district. So then I started this campaign of, the COVID warriors, the Chase Smedley Award, and the different awards that we brought out just to recognize people and ask them that we are looking for your help. And not only that, I would also write on a one-on-one to everybody I knew in the district, not only in West Bengal, which is my home base, you could say, but even in entire Delhi and UP and Lucknow, wherever I had friends or people I knew, I wouldn't hesitate to stoop down and request them. And that is humility, which a leader has to show. When you need help, you have to go and ask for it. And then when I asked for the help, I think I got it. So that was one beautiful moment in my life. When I went down to ask for help, I received it. Beautiful moment. I can never forget it. And they made us smelly. In fact, before the year ended, we did not know that we had reached the numbers. Though we personally knew, but it was not announced because it hadn't hit the board, the dashboard, due to the data getting refreshed and it takes quite some time. So only on I think 8th or 7th of August, no, July, we came to know that we had succeeded as a Smedley Distinguished District. So that was a really highlight moment for me, I would say. Nothing can take
I
that away.
remember, ma'am, ma'am, how you had connected with all the members. You went down to club leaders. You asked all the associate roles that please, if we can get some new members. All the hard work which you have put, that was the result why we had won the Smedley Distinguished District last year. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank
Over
you.
to
Thank you
Shantan.
so much for all y'all's help because y'all were also part of the team. And I'm so grateful for whatever y'all have done to make it possible. So thank you very much.
In fact, ma'am, one thing which I remember from those times was I was a club leader back then, but even then, all the club members knew who the district director was. All the club members looked up to you because being a district director is being at a way higher hierarchy than the club leaders. And if the club leaders know who the district director is, if the club leaders take inspiration from the district director, I believe it is a huge thing on the part of the district director that you made sure that even the bottom of Toastmasters, the people, the members, they knew and looked up to you. So, ma'am, thank you for your leadership. Thank you for the time today and for sharing with us your experience as a Toastmaster, as a district director, as a club growth director, as a division director, as an area director, as an HR professional, as a leader, as a mother, as somebody who has not just left an indelible mark in leadership, but also inspired and motivated many, many young leaders of today. So, thank you, ma'am, for your time. Thank you for
I
being a part.
just want to end with one thing for the youngsters of tomorrow. If I can do it, you can do it. Just have that belief. Nothing is impossible. Keep dreaming and keep going towards your dreams. All the best. Thank you so much for this interview, Rohit and Shayantan. It was an honor to be here with you all tonight.
Thank you, ma'am. The honor was ours.